Hi there people, welcome back to another episode on Hcmc. Today we are doing a lot of things when looking at Hcmc. We're talking about what we spoke about briefly yesterday with the outstanding shares. This was the fact that the outstanding shares has gone down. And of course people in the comment section were wondering, is this good, is this bad, does it even matter at all? Well, we are talking about that in this episode. We are obviously looking at how the price has been moving today for Hcmc, and I know it is pretty flat, but we are going to be speaking about that. We're also giving my opinions on whether it is too late to buy Hcmc or whether you should perhaps, avoid this one, or if you should actually buy it right now. And we're going to be talking about quite a lot in this episode. Now don't get me wrong, I'm going to say it right now guys. I'm sure a lot of this you may have heard in other places, and I'm just going to say it. I know a lot of people on YouTube want you to watch a video all the way through for the watch time. Well guys, I'm not going to be like that here. You guys have given me so much by viewing all of the Hcmc videos previously. Look, if you know what I'm about to speak about in this video, if you're already up to date with the lawsuit and all of that kind of stuff, I recommend that you don't watch this video because I don't want to waste any more of your time than you need to. Again, tomorrow we are looking at the fundamentals of the company and the main information around the lawsuit, and people are going to be asking me, why am I making these videos when people already know that? I think that is a fine thing to say. I think that's understandable. But the other half of the coin is the fact that a lot of people don't actually know what they need to know about Hcmc. And yes, whilst a lot of people do, I just want to make sure that everybody is as well informed as they possibly can. But obviously I am not a financial advisor, so please do your own research and all that kind of stuff. But yeah guys, if you do want to start off by giving my verdict on whether now is a good time to buy Hcmc, that way of course you can leave the video if you do know the rest, which we'll be speaking about in the later half. So basically Hcmc has been pretty flat today. The same can be said for quite some time. Down today by about 4.54% from 9.30, but overall things pretty flat. And again, if you'd have bought this one on the highs back on the 7th of April, this was Wednesday, and held until now, you'd have basically lost only 9.9%. And again, the past 5 days is still red for this stock. If we do have a quick look at the price, down by about 16.6% in the past 5 days, which isn't great, but we're going to be speaking about that in a moment. So again, a lot of people are asking, is now the time to buy Hcmc or should you avoid it? Well guys, here's my opinion on Hcmc. What we already know about Hcmc, and again this is something which we're speaking about more tomorrow, what it will mean, but obviously on the 16th of this month we are having the response from Philip Morris. Now again, this definitely could bring a big catalyst to Hcmc, or it could also potentially drop the price if we don't hear the outcome that we do want to hear. Again, all will be explained in a bit more detail in tomorrow's episode. Again, I just want to save that one for later. So yeah, I think right now if you are looking to buy Hcmc, it probably is one of the better points in my personal opinion. Again guys, you already know that I own about 1 million shares of Hcmc. I have a pending order for 500,000. It still hasn't gone through. From last night's episode, I did realise that a lot of you guys are having the same issue. But yeah, right now I think Hcmc is at a solid buy point. The reason is because of course we do have that upcoming catalyst, and personally I do believe that we have hit the bottom for the price of Hcmc. Don't get me wrong, like I have mentioned, if we don't get the result that we want from that lawsuit, or at least from the 16th, perhaps this one could continue to drop. But what we already knew with Hcmc from the beginning is that this was a risky stock, right? We already knew that the lawsuit was a big catalyst, and again, if it goes in their favour, we could see the share price rocket. If it doesn't go in their favour as much, who knows, the share price definitely could drop. We're giving a bit more of a talk about price forecast for next week on Sunday, so join us for that one as well. But yeah, I think that now isn't a bad time to buy Hcmc if you can get an order in. Again, most people can't. Now, people have been speaking about Hcmc's price consolidating over the past few sessions. Honestly, I think that is kind of the case. I think it is definitely finding a level right now where it's comfortable. Fortunately, we haven't seen it dip into the 0.0009 range, and that is fantastic. Again, last time we did hit the 0.0009 range, we basically shot up immediately after doing that. But what we can see is that obviously looking at the charts, it does look to be the fact that we have found a bottom at the moment. Obviously, this mark down here, this flat line, if you can see it on your screen, hopefully you can. This is the 0.0001 range, exactly 0.001. Obviously we can see the bottom wicks of these candlesticks are basically touching that, which were the lows of the day. So for quite a few days consistently we have actually touched that low, but obviously we haven't broken below that. And even though we are basically touching out today, it looks like we are definitely finding a bit of support at this level here. Again, if we don't get the result that we want, it definitely could drop a bit lower, but there we go. That is what we are seeing this week. I think it is good. I definitely do hope that we have found the bottom for Hcmc. HCMC. Again, I personally have put orders in at this price. How long it takes to get executed, who knows? It could take a very long time with the way things are going, but there we go. Anyway, the second thing which I wanted to speak about in this episode was the outstanding shares. Now again, this was something that we touched on last episode because the number of outstanding shares for HCMC has gone down. Now, if you want a bit more information about that, do make sure to go watch yesterday's video because we did discuss it in that one. But basically, the amount of outstanding shares went down from about 309 billion all the way down to about 307 billion. So it was about a 1.7 billion decrease in outstanding shares. Now, people in the comment section were asking me, is this good? Is this bad? What does it mean for the company? And I did promise people in the comment section that I would try and clear this one up in a next video. So the thing about HCMC, and the reason why I keep making these videos looking at the fundamentals, is because the people who are invested in HCMC, some of them are very smart people, don't get me wrong. In fact, a lot of them are very smart people. I don't want to call anybody stupid because nobody here is stupid. But here's the thing, a lot of people who are invested in the stock aren't necessarily as aware as they should be about a few details of the company and basically how the market as a whole works. I think this is very important. I think if you're getting into HCMC as a beginner, and if you're expecting to see big gains overnight, if you think this one's going to make you a millionaire, hey, I'm not going to say it's not going to make you a millionaire. Obviously, you should do your own research and find out whether you believe that is the case based on what you have found. But what I'm trying to say is don't expect massive gains with this one overnight. It is possible if we do get a ruling in our favour, but obviously I definitely think this one is more of a long-term hold. We're looking for big things like a payment from Philip Morris, hopefully a settlement soon, and again that definitely could result in a buyback for shares which could send the price rocketing. But basically, let's get into detail explaining why this outstanding shares being reduced is a good thing. Well, let's put it this way, guys. It basically boils down to supply and demand, and I'm going to sum this one up as simply as I can. I know people are going to say that I missed a few things, so if I did miss anything, please do correct me in the comment section. But basically, the thing about HCMC at the moment is that we have 307 billion outstanding shares. Actually, slightly more than that if we can have a look at this second number down here. So we've got about 307.7 billion shares. And this is a rather large number. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that. And the thing is, guys, if we want this price to hit $1, if we want it to hit 10 cent, 50 cent, of course the amount of shares is important for that. And it does boil down to supply and demand. So of course, if you're placing orders for HCMC right now, let's say you're placing an order of 1 million shares, yes, that is a lot of shares, but obviously in relation to the overall number, it is not that much. Basically, we want the amount of shares to be as small as possible because it creates more demand for the stock, because right now, obviously, there are so many shares, basically anybody can pick them up. And right now, what we want to see is the shares being decreased by a massive amount. Furthermore, if the amount of shares do get decreased further and further to a level where the price is above $1, I'm not saying it is going to happen, but you know, if we were to see a buyback, potentially, and then perhaps if we were to see more of a buyback or more interest, or maybe even a reverse split. Now, I know people don't like talking about reverse split, but I am going to mention it. You know, if we were to hit $1, for example, then get a reverse split of 1 to 4, obviously the price of the stock would be $4. And the higher the price, what this means is obviously investors do get more money. I mean, obviously reverse split doesn't really give people more money, but what it means is that if we were to get up to about $4 or $5, I do believe it is, we potentially could get listed on the NASDAQ with HCMC. Now, why does this matter? Well, if we're looking at the OTC markets, which is currently where HCMC is sat, it is a good market, don't get me wrong, there are some real gems on there, that is true, but generally speaking, OTC stocks aren't necessarily as respected. I mean, obviously with the price of HCMC shares right now, it's not the best position. A listing on the NASDAQ would allow this one to be accepted on a lot more trading platforms, and it would allow a lot more people to get their eyes on HCMC for the first time. So basically, it would be great if we were to see this one get uplisted to the NASDAQ. But again, that is definitely a long way away. We're currently at a share price of about 0.0011, and to expect this one to get to $4 anytime soon, again, unless we have a buyback or a reverse split, I just don't believe that is the case. So basically, guys, what I'm trying to say is the amount of shares being lower, the amount of outstanding shares being lower, is a fantastic thing for HCMC. Again, we need to get this to a more realistic number where we can actually see the share price move a bit more, because again, the less amount of shares, the less buying of shares it will take for the price to move up or down by a small amount. Obviously, we've got so many shares right now, we do need to see that be reduced in the future for HCMC as a stock to be taken seriously, in my opinion. But there we go. I know it was a bit of a rant, but I did want to try and sum this one up to the best of my ability. Again, if I did miss anything, please do help me in the comment section by correcting me or by pointing our viewers in the right direction if you do know something that I have missed. And again, tomorrow we are looking at the fundamentals of HCMC. So obviously we're looking at the lawsuit and all that kind of stuff, the information about the IQOS system and why this legal team which is representing them is important. So again, we have spoken about this before, but I'm just going to do it again to raise awareness for people who may not be as aware as they should be when investing in HCMC. So all of that and more is coming in tomorrow's episode. Then on Sunday we're giving a bit of a price forecast for HCMC, so do make sure to join us for that. Thank you so much for joining me for this quick video. I'll see you again very, very soon. Goodbye until then.